What is up, everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is time for another Evening Alpha. I am your host, Todd Wanish. Let me do something real quick. We gotta get this going. We gotta get some music. Just a little bit of music. Get that nighttime music pumping because it's really helpful. And I like it, man. It's got that chill beat to it, man. I like that. It's the Evening Alpha. We need like sound, right? It's dope. I like it. All right. So hopefully you guys can hear it. I always got to turn the sound off. It's always good. How are you guys doing? How was your weekend? It's freaking Monday. J-Raw, welcome, man. How are you feeling? How you doing? He said, sending a heart. He says, I don't even send hearts to my girly friends. I'm sent for Todd. That's right. You know, my milkshake brings all the dudes to the yard. Wait, no, that doesn't sound right. What's up, man? Hope you're feeling better, man. I know in Discord you were saying you weren't feeling too great. I hope you're relaxing, watching some people beat each other in the face, UFC style, MMA. It's a good night, dude. It's a good night. Monday's a good day. Hey, Dusty, what's up, man? Welcome. Well, everybody's piling in. Yeah. Yes. That'll be between us, J-Rod. Dusty will have to watch that on replay. But while people are coming in, hey again. My name is Todd. I am the founder of Adult Fantasy. We are a Web3 character-based entertainment company. We create character franchises. We are going right after the jugular vein of Marvel Entertainment, specifically Marvel Comics, what they did back in the heyday. We think we know how to do that, considering that I used to work there and I've been on the inside, had the chance to work with Stan Lee, had the chance to work with fine artists like Jeff Koons, the most successful artist in Sandy Warhol. And we are creating from the ground up the next cinematic style universe and building lore, and our community we're building tools for our community to directly interact with that lore, to create canon and get directly rewarded from the creation of that. We believe that one of the problems with Web 2 and 20th century creation for pop culture creation, one of the big problems is that the fans were always the end product, even though we were the ones helping to create everything, right? It was our money and our voting with our dollars and our ideas and our pitches that led to the creation of some of the biggest companies on the planet. And we all know that politics is downstream from culture now. And, we have a chance to actually create the new 21st century model of culture, of pop culture, of mythology. If you ask me, I think, character franchising and storytelling and story building and world building is probably one of the most important jobs you could ever have on this planet, because it has the power to lift people up. It has the power to support people. It has the power to just pure enjoyment. It's incredible. It can change lives. So we're here to do just that. We're here to create, and we're here to work together as a group, as a community, as a fellowship to bring these new characters in this new universe to life so that we can support each other and be completely independent and self-sovereign 100%. That is the goal. That is the mission. So Dusty's in here. J-Raw says, I'm all good, sick, but it's part of life. I'm used to get punched and kicked and strangled, so this is light work. Right on. NFTs are the takeover of mainstream industries. It 100%. It really is. Smart contracts and everything else. It really is. It really is a complete redo. It's like I was talking to somebody today, and I was too young in the early 90s when like Google and all that stuff, in mid 90s, like when the real giants started to take over and kind of create. And then during the .com bubble or the boom or whatever it is, like in the 2000s, I also wasn't really in the game. And I've seen this cycle a few times in my life, through technology, through comics, had the same type of cycle. Like in the 90s, comics were huge, and then they tanked in the 2000s. Like I've seen this happen before, and we're not missing it this time, right? Like you guys, I say this, you've heard me say it before, like we are blessed. We are so lucky to be in right now at the tip of the iceberg, the beginning stages of all of this. The difficulty that everyone faces and the scams and the rough stuff and the rug pulls, that is a sign of being early. Once all that stuff is weeded out, when the system is fully controlled, the system is fully controlled. And it's going to be 5 years from now, I'm telling you, it's going to be much harder for project creators to hit $1 million in revenue or to scale. Like, you're not going to see these crazy Discord blowing up things. Like, it's just not going to happen because we're going to be at scale. There's going to be 10 times as many projects as there are right now, right? Across every genre. Right now, it's focused on like art and kind of pop culture. And then it's going to move into other things. And so we are incredibly lucky. Take it as a blessing for real. It's not going to happen. It only happens once a generation, maybe. J-Row says, and turning it to the creators. I love it. Yep, absolutely. Take over mainstream industries and turning it into the creators. Yep. What a time to be alive for creative minds. It really is, man. It's finally at an apex where you can, if you have an idea and you have a topic and you want to put it out there, you can do it yourself. You can generate it. You can get a very, like, just the ability to find one other person who can code. Maybe you have one business person, one person to code. I mean, I remember like the projects that are out today, not only could you not do 5 years ago because the technology was there, but even in Web 2.0, you couldn't do what you can do now in Web 2.0 with like building an app or something. Pretty much everybody can build an app now. You can find somebody on Fiverr to help you build like the code or the software, or Upwork, right? You can find a developer fairly easily to put at least a MVP together and launch a minimum viable product into the market and get some revenue. 10, 15, 20 years ago, just to get something live would have cost you a couple $1 million, right? So the curve of technology and how it's kind of coming towards the common man is it's absolutely fascinating and so rapid. J-Row says, 100%, I will feel bad if I don't jump into this market as a project creator right now. I won't miss this one. Yeah, 100%, dude. Looking to start now and build a long-lasting brand. Yeah, dude, I'm glad you showed up tonight because tonight is actually for you, dude. In fact, we'll jump in. I also have another thing. I may cover this, a little bit of a sidebar. So I've been talking to a lot of projects and making enough. We're reaching out now, and people are reaching out to us, to be quite honest, for potential partnerships with adult fantasy, with the technology side, with the Clever Era technology side. It's really awesome. And so I'm getting to talk to a lot of project owners and looking at a lot of different contracts and things like that. And I received one today, a contract, and I'm debating whether I won't share the whole contract because I don't think that's prudent or professional, but there are pieces of it where I find fascinating and I'd love to get your opinion. So if enough people show up, we'll do it tonight. If not, it won't matter. We'll definitely address it. But I definitely have some things that I'd like to get your input on, because contracts are important, and sometimes it's interesting. It's interesting to see how people think, right? And when you're looking at when someone sends you a contract, you have to read it. And so I'm being coy because I don't want to spoil it, but I also want to be careful because I don't want to dox the people that gave it to me, because it's a normal contract. And I guess that's what was so fascinating about it, is that it was very normal and, in my opinion, not very Web3, which is really interesting because I would say that it's from a hot up and coming project. So we can talk about that. Hey, Wild, what's up? Willie D. I'm just going to call you Wild because that's how my brain reads it. What's up, Willie D? How you doing, brother? Let's go. Awesome, man. All right, so we're going to jump in. So here's what I got for you tonight. So this is interesting. So J-Raw actually asked this question, and J-Raw, I hope you don't mind me stating your question. If so, you can beat me up for it. So J-Raw asked a question in Discord this week, or I guess over the weekend, which was really a question about our team and how adult fantasy is structured. Trying to figure out who does what and what roles to bring on for a project or his project, right? And you guys are awesome. Master Chief. Well, Willie, Master Chief, you need me. I do not. You guys are hilarious. Oh man. So so he says, I'm trying to figure out who or what roles to bring on besides the obvious coding/artist, and how big to structure a team for a new project. My brain gets tangled up when trying to think about certain aspects of the project and building the team. I need to figure out what roles I think about bringing on and how to portion out the pay. So it's a really good question. So the first thing to know, is, you always got to think about your budget, right? So I say think about the budget, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's in order to spend it on people on the team, because at the end of the day, you need to have as much money in the coffers or the treasury as possible for advertising costs, right? For AF, we made a decision to not pay influencers and not pay blogs for coverage, which now seems to be the trend. Having talked to a lot of project owners, it seems that it's turning towards that. Although plenty of people still buy influencer support, but we still had the cash to do it, right? We chose not to, and then I also experimented. I'll get to what we did with it. We did experiment with advertising as well. But ultimately, you need to keep the team small, in my opinion, unless you have a big enough budget where you can hire a full team pre-launch, right? There's two ways you can go about it. The first is to go lean and mean, which is 1, 2, 3 people, maybe 4. You probably know them already. They're probably friends. And each one of you takes a corner of the space and you go after it. And we can talk about what those jobs are. The other way to do it is that if you do have cash, and you are just are full on in the business, then you go ahead and take the risk, hire the team that you need, which is usually I know someone in the space that is pre-launch, and they have just in their Discord, they have 10 paid mods and a community manager / marketer, just in the Discord. That doesn't include Twitter, and that doesn't include the devs, and that doesn't include the artist, and that doesn't include the project lead, right? So we're already talking 14, 15 people on a team, and it's pre-launch. So it really depends where you are financially and what you're thinking. I'm more of a slow and steady kind of guy. If you're thinking long term, you have to kind of balance out the risks versus the rewards. So I always go for maximum value as opposed to minimum viable, meaning how much value can I pack into the smallest thing possible that we can actually launch without having to hire 30 developers, right? I think that's a great way to test the market. And it's also important to know that when you launch, you're going to be the chances of you kind of nailing it from the get-go and without having to change stuff or modify your plans is almost zero. So you don't want to hire 30 people to have them develop something, and then you launch it, and then you realize you have to change it, right? You're going to change it. You're not omnipotent, you're a demigod. So there's going to be things that come up, and once people start buying the product, you're going to start to really understand what people like and what they don't like, and what you can do to kind of make the product better. Like our community, we talk about it, right? Like it's like, well, what are some ideas? What are some feedback? What do you like? What do you don't like? Like it's all open. And so we document all of it and we try to implement as much as we can. And that sometimes means that we change a product. So that's kind of a big lead up to say, well, while I'm going to go through the roles that you might want to think about, it really depends on what your budget is at first and how you want to go about it, whether you're going balls out or whether you're like kind of staying conservative and lean. I personally, in my experience, the best teams start really lean. 2 people, 3 people, maybe 4 people, plus maybe an intern or 2, just to get help, right? And that should be enough to get something out the door. After that, and that also means you'll probably be wearing multiple hats. Like you guys are gonna be running wild, but you got to prove the concept and you got to get it out. So that's the only caveat before I jump in with like how many people and what the rules are. So for adult fantasy right now, it's still pretty lean. So you've got a couple of different roles. So you've got the lead role. So I act as the lead. I'm founder, and then Melissa and Flint are co-founders, right? And the founder role is really sort of the vision, concept, and direction. And that's usually what that person focuses on. So as we move forward and as we build out with new artists and get other people involved, I will start taking on that role of concept, direction, partnerships. Like that'll be more, it's already pulling me in that direction. Like today, my first Zoom call was, I had stand up at 9:30 with the team. And then my first Zoom call was at noon and I got off at 6 p.m. I mean, it was 6 hours straight, nonstop Zoom calls with different people. So that's kind of that founder role where it's about high level strategic partnerships, really seeing what's out there and what kind of business that we can bring in. On top of that, because we're still small, I also act as the art director. I'm the artist, right? I'm also doing the front end web design because that's in my skill set, right? Which is definitely too much. Like I'm already starting to like, as you know, on Discord, like we've started to kind of like start to say, hey, we need help? That's also because I was also doing last year, Paco and I were doing Discord as well, like managing all of that. And it was way too much. So these are the things that you need to think about in terms of how to break it up. So technically, usually the founder eventually is going to be the person that's doing strategic partnerships, really crafting that full vision, but then really implementing it and getting those pieces in, right? At first, the founder does the direction, and really the big vision is just launch. Like, okay, the big vision is here's what we want to do at launch. Here's a couple things we could do after. Here's where it could go. Let's go ahead and get these milestones set up and go for it and like lock it into place. And then the founder is also a team member who's wearing the hat of whatever specialty that person has. So it's maybe design, maybe it's marketing, maybe it's a developer, whatever it is. The founder is usually also kind of in the gears, like making the thing happen. But eventually, again, like I said, that role, eventually these things will peel off as you hire new people so that you can start to focus on that core thing. So founder is number one for that vision and overall concept and direction. The second thing that I think is important is, and I think this is the job of the future, is the community manager. So community, and I don't even know if it's really, if the proper term yet has been defined. I don't think it's necessarily the job is not going to be called community management. I think it's going to be called community marketing, because that's kind of what it is. The community marketer or the community manager has to deal with two separate flows. The first flow is engagement on Discord or whatever the main community is. And all that means is that someone has to be responsible for making the Discord exciting and engaging and fun, right? There has to be something to do, otherwise it's just boring, right? Which, that's what we're solving right now. So it's like you got to have someone who can kind of fit there and kind of be the MC and say, hey, let's try this, let's do a giveaway, let's do a contest, let's do a live AMA, or like setting it up so that the rest of the team is like, I'm gonna do what? Cool, okay, and it's just like set up, right? The other side of that job is inbound, meaning it's not enough just to make the Discord or the community platform engaging for all the people that are there. There also has to be new people coming in. Some of that will come from the founder role, from partnerships, right? Or whoever is the person in charge of partnerships, if it's not the founder, right? Someone has to be in charge of legitimate partnerships. Hopefully like actual like cross promotion stuff. Like you use our characters, we use your characters, maybe comic books or whatever it is, like legitimate tight partnerships. The community marketer does other types of outreach to communities to bring people in. What we've seen works is giveaways, NFT drops, whitelists, the stuff I'm sure you guys have all seen. That's also the responsibility usually of that community Discord managing person, because they take care of the stuff that it needs to be engaging inside of Discord, and then they go and they reach out to other communities to see if there's a connection so that other people will start to come into the Discord. So people come in from other projects, they see that things are happening and things are fun and really exciting, and they stay, right? And then they get involved, and then hopefully they purchase. And if they don't purchase, at least they have fun. So that's the second thing. And that's I think we're seeing, I think it's fascinating, because I really do think that's a new job that's actually like a brand new 21st century job. Wasn't here 2 years ago, right? Wasn't here last year. Began of last year. There's no such thing. Now every single community, every single Discord that is worth its salt has a community manager or someone in charge of Discord. What are you guys saying over here? Everyone's saying, J-Roth, thank you in advance for the topic. Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to ask questions too. Willie D says, good decision. It's been really chilly for a while. Willie D says, a lot of these guys literally just read the website. I could do that myself. Thanks. Community manager makes the users in the Discord grind for whitelist. Yeah, sometimes, for sure. That's part of it, right? But it also has to be fun. Like if you're just grinding for a whitelist, that kind of sucks, or it can suck. It is a skill to be like, yo, this is going to be fun, and there's a payoff, right? Beyond just whitelist, what else do I get, right? There's always this desire. A lot of people call it like utility, but it's really just a desire for more engagement and more involvement and more results, right? More value. Utility just means value. It really is just value play, right? Yeah, Dusty says, hopefully that will change over time. Yeah, it's a big job. It's a big job. So that's the other thing. And that as a founder, you can do. So during our launch last year, I did the website, I did all the artwork. I was doing a lot of marketing, like traditional digital marketing, like advertising. I was reaching out to other communities, and we were managing with Paco, we were managing the Discord. And it damn near killed us. It was too much. I wasn't sleeping. And I mean that, by the time we launched, I think I had maybe been getting like 2 hours of sleep, maybe 3 for like over a month and a half. And like for the first time in my life, like I'm a workhorse. Like I have no problem like busting my ass. I actually enjoy what I do, so I don't have a problem working. But like I don't think I could have done another month like that. I think another couple of weeks and I would have like broken. Like I would have gotten physically sick and had to be like out for a month. So you got to take care of your health, and that's why I definitely would recommend finding somebody on the team. Maybe they have another job as well, but somebody needs to be, or multiple people on the team need to be helping with the community. The next thing you need, so you've got the founder, you've got a community manager or community marketer, whatever you define it. The other role is the developer or developers. It's kind of like enough said, right? Like developers, you're like, okay, well, somebody's got to code the thing. But it's also important to So the interesting thing about developers is that, you know, some want to be more involved, some want to be less involved. And a lot of it is time. Developers really, like, they have heavy lift, right? Because they have to code the thing. Without them, it doesn't go, right? So for us, we're lucky in that Melissa is really cool about like going on and doing like live streams and live coding when she can, right? Sometimes it's hard because the stuff that she's coding is proprietary, or sometimes it's just really hard. You know, sometimes when you're working on a hard problem, it's hard to do that in public. You just have to sit and focus on it. But she tries to find the pieces that she knows well enough, or she thinks is easy enough or solvable enough that she can publicly do it live and verbalize while she's figuring out the problem. So she's really good at that. That's a really good skill. Not a lot of people have that. And to be honest, I think it comes from her background. She does, her background is in acting and theater and all of that. So she's very used to being on stage and holding a discussion, and then combined with the code, I think that comes into power with her live streams. So regardless of whether the dev or devs can jump in, if you can get them to help manage community and stuff like that, fantastic. You probably can't. I don't see a lot of developers really active. I mean, there's a few. Usually they're either the founder, or like the one that comes to mind is Extreme Tom from Cool Cats. Like he's the lead dev, and he's also really active on Twitter and really active in the Discords, usually when he's not like coding and stuff. So if you can get somebody like that, great. If not, just, it's okay, at least for the devs. Like if all they want to do is code, which is usually the case, just let them do their thing, because it really is mentally heavy lifting. Let's see. Dira says, so you went over founder and community marketer so far, or did I miss one? Yeah, I went over founder, community manager / marketer, and then developers, right? You can also outsource that. You can hire devs, but like you can hire devs that are like outside of your, like you can hire a dev shop, but that's going to cost you more money. There are pros to that as well, depending on, again, your budget. J. Ross says, I think all of this overworking and lack of sleep finally caught up to me, and that's why I'm a little sick right now. It's real stuff. It really is. It really is. Shout out to Melissa. Yeah, no, it's serious. Like, you know, it's there's so much to do. Like if you guys saw my Trello board and like what we have planned in our like roadmap, it's fucking insane. In a good way. I'm super excited about it, but I'm also trying not to think of like there is no day that goes by where I feel like I've completed my mission, because it's like there's always some task that's on today's list that has to be moved to tomorrow because it's just not enough time in the day. But that's just the way it is. That's life. It's, you know, that's good. That means there's a lot to do, and you're gonna stay busy. J. Ross says, the dev I'm talking with said he will take an advisor role, no extra charge, since he has experience with other projects. He said since he will have a % stake in the mint, he wants to advise. Yeah, that sounds good. Depending on what the stake is, you definitely, I would absolutely recommend having the developer be an advisor, 100%, because you want them to be advisors. If they're not advisors, like, oh, I see. Hold on, you said, sorry. This is a web developer. There's a separate smart contract dev. He knows that would do the contract stuff. Oh, okay. So if you have a 2.0 web developer who would advise, that's a little different. Again, it depends on the product. If your product is a little more heavy on the web 2.0, then advisory is fine. I would just come to term with what exactly he'd be advising on, because I don't know him, so there's no judgment. Like I don't know this person. You just want to make sure that like someone who's like, if his background is like WordPress design and you're doing blockchain, crypto, NFTs, how well could that person advise you, right? I'm not saying that this is the case here. I don't know, but you just want to make sure that person has experience in an area that you're going to need advice on. right? If that's the case, then go for it. Like, advisors are fantastic. And I'll go over our team in a minute, like what we do, like how we structure it and how we're actually spreading out. I'll talk to you about like where we were and where we're going in just a minute. So we've got the founder, who's vision, concept design. We've got community manager / marketer. We've got the developers. You also have designers, like the artist. For me, that was the founder. Maybe that's the case for you as well. If it's not, then you just need to hire out. It would also be awesome if that person is willing to jump into the community and be cool, because the more people you have in the community talking, the better. But also, you know, labor-intensive jobs tend to be labor-intensive jobs. So devs, designers, like these creators tend to just have to like head down, work, and get the job done, right? So you may find that even though you have a bigger team, you don't have so many people that can actually hop into Discord or hop onto Twitter and things like that. It just depends on the team, but you're definitely going to need some type of creator, some type of artist, designer to create. And I know you're interested in doing like a magazine, so someone who can do layout and someone who can do graphics and logos, things like that. Probably maybe even someone from the traditional 2.0 publishing world who's used to doing like creating magazines, right? So that you don't have to think about it. You know, like if you find someone who makes magazines all day and night and they've been doing it for 10 years and you just ask them to make another magazine, like they're not going to really think twice about it, right? I don't think that would be a hard position to fill, especially if you're talking about Web3, because Web3 is so hot, right? I think you might find that people are going to jump at it, or at least somebody will. Another role you're going to want is project manager. So project manager can be the founder, or it can be another member of the team. But somebody needs to herd the cats, right? Somebody needs to be in charge of like, here's when we're doing the meeting, here's when we're scheduling our roadmap call, here's when we're gonna, you know, hey, I'm following up. Are we scheduled for that this time on this date? Hey, I'm following up. How's progress going on this, right? Like a project manager makes sure that all the deadlines are hit so that we can actually like meet our deadline, hit our milestones, and launch when we say we're going to launch. Because you're going to get thrown curveballs. Like there's, especially with development, like just because you say you're going to be done on a certain day, like good luck. I mean, usually things come up, you know, like bugs come up and problems come up that can't be solved. You know, it might take a week to solve a problem. It's just code and science. It's math. It's not easy. So a project manager is really there to keep everybody kind of on track. Hey, how are you? What do you need? What are you behind on? How can I help? What do you need to get this, you know, past this block, if there is a block? For us, that is actually Melissa. We do a stand up every morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. We hop on, we talk for about 30 minutes, and it's sort of it's stand-ups traditionally are supposed to be quick. Ours takes about 30 minutes, but it's what did you do yesterday? What are you doing today? And what are your blockers, if any? And those are the three questions each person on the team answers, right? What did you do today? Yesterday, I did A, B, C, D, and E. I talked to this person. I got this done. I got to this point. I'm a little behind that, but today I'm going to finish that task. Also today, I'm going to talk to this person, do this thing, push this code, whatever it is. And then there's either no blockers, or I'm actually stuck on this, or I'm waiting for this team member to get done so that I can do that. So I'm a little blocked on that, but it's not a big deal yet, right? So you're just kind of putting everything out there in a structured way so that everybody knows where everybody else is. Then we have after we do stand up in that project management session, we have something called parking lot, and parking lot is really like anything else that we want to talk about project related, usually that is not within those three questions, right? So it's not necessarily what I did yesterday, what I'm doing today, what are my blockers, if any. It might be like, oh yeah, so I wanted you guys to check this out. I was looking at this article and it relates to our project, and this influencer is talking about it, and we were developing it last year, and it could be anything. It's related to their project, but it's not necessarily straight up like inside of those few things. And then on top of the daily stand-ups, project managers will really, it's their job to make sure you're on point, right? So like Melissa will crack the whip if we're behind too much. It's like, what do we need to shove out of the way schedule wise to make it sure that this gets done on time, right? And it's not perfect, like we're all human, but having someone in charge really matters, right? It's just got to be someone who can handle that kind of responsibility. And really that's primarily the big components of the team. I would say, again, at first that can all be done by 2 or 3 people. They're going to be busting their ass, right? Like that 2 to 3 people is a lot of work. The more people you can get on, the better, but you have to weigh that against cost, or if it's more of like an investment thing, like where you're paying people off of percentage of primary or secondary sales, or however you're making the team work. It really just depends on where you are and how you're feeling about it. For us, so when we started, it was myself as founder / lead. So vision, concept, direction. I was also handling art chores and web design chores and marketing, because I was primarily doing traditional digital marketing at first, beyond just Discord. We had Discord, but we were doing other things as well. And I was doing Discord. So and I did that most of the year. That was way too much, to be honest. And then Paco was world building and was also handling Discord. So he ended up, while he was working on the world building aspect and just kicking ass on it, he was also kind of that heavy lift in the Discord, like you guys know, like he was there all the time. Well, that was because like someone had to be there all the time. So he was kind of doing that double duty between writing and crafting world building stuff and being in Discord and kind of like coming up with giveaways and contests and like helping to kind of spin that stuff up. Melissa is the dev. She's like lead Solidity. So she was in charge and still is in charge of all the contract stuff. And then Flint also does a little bit of Solidity and does some of the smart contract stuff, but because of the way our technology stack is, he's more focused on Unity and the actual objectness of the player and all of that. Like how all of that stuff works is pretty much his ownership, like what he owns in the project. And then we have so that's really the core team, right? So Paco left, and so it's the 3 of us. And outside of that core team, we have so there's I don't know, give me 1 second. I don't know if she says her name on our website or if she uses something else, and I don't want to dox her. I'm so used to calling people by their names. Well, I'll say this. So one of the advisors we have a couple of advisors. So the first main advisor is this guy, Jason. And Jason is, he was story advisor for last year. And we're still working with him. He's a friend of mine. I've known Jason for a long time, worked with him at Marvel as well. And he's still doing stuff in the cinematic universe. So he's still doing stuff with the films. Like a lot of the shows and movies he's like on set for. So he's awesome because we share the same kind of like sense of humor about stuff. And so he really has a good knowledge of comics and storytelling. So he's really good to bounce ideas off of. So I use him as an advisor, like to help me kind of world build and just really, James too. Like we use Jason as sort of a springboard to say, what do you think? How would you approach this? Is this a good idea? Is it stupid? We just to get fresh eyes on it, right? And then Jen Yoko D, who is community. She's listed as community relations, but she's been one of my top assistants for a few years now. So I've worked with her for a while. She's done everything from VA stuff. She's really good. I mean, she's background in animation, and she does editing, and she understands advertising and funnels and copy. She's awesome. So it gives me the ability, like, instead of like having to like, do all of the work, like, hey, I'm going to shoot a video and then we're going to have to edit the video and then we're going to chop it up and it's got to have a title card and it's got to have a description. Like, I can come up with some of that stuff, but then if I need to, she can be the one to actually just like kind of break out the work and push, if that makes sense. It just helps me having somebody who can actually, like, I can actually hand something off to and she can do it, and she's very good at it. So I'm very lucky that she's with us. So that's primarily how the team was situated last year. This year it's a little different because we're expanding out. So right now, we're looking to fill all of these roles so that, again, the more roles that I can take off of myself, the more I'll be able to focus on the vision, concept, direction, and art, and the better the whole system will be. So Melissa and Flint are still in their roles, right? So they're kind of locked. They don't really have any outside responsibilities beyond dev and code. And so my responsibility has been everything else lately, right? The last like little bit. So the first rule of thumb is like, okay, let's get somebody in for community manager or community director, communication, whatever you want to call it, Discord. So we're working on that. We'll have an announcement soon on that. And so we have somebody who will be coming in for Discord to really help make it a fun place again, which is dope. And then there's also bridging in from partnerships from other projects, and then we'll be going in to I'm looking at trying to find someone for a Twitter role that may actually cross over to a designer role, because some of the Twitter profiles and feeds that I really enjoy in the NFT space really craft their Twitter feed. Like it's almost like reading a comic. It's some of these Twitter feeds are freaking gorgeous, like extremely curated and very thoughtful. Like they really think about it. It's like storytelling. So I don't know if we can do that just for budgetary reasons. I don't know if we can do that immediately, but there's certainly getting someone in on the Twitter side who can actually be there and promote and communicate on a regular basis is mandatory, right? So we'll be getting someone up for that role too, or we'll either bridge it or find a full-time role in there. I'm not really sure yet. And then we're also expanding on the art side. So I've been in a lot of talks lately, guys. Like we have again, I can't make announcements and I don't want to spoil shit, but we are. So I'm talking with an artist for something. We announced like right after Mint, we announced the partnership with Pixel Pirate, and that's coming along. So they're working on something for us, and that'll be coming up in a bit. That's coming up soon. So they're kind of helping lift on the artistic art side, right? And then on the lore building side, so we spent February and some of March like crafting a lore game internally so that we could figure out like how can we set the stage and create a situation for anybody now or in the future to come in and have fun and play a game, but with real outcome, meaning like, how can you create a game that also creates canon and like universal scale lore, like how, like beginning of the universe time to the end of the universe time, how can we craft something and play a game that actually starts to put pieces in order and whittle it all the way down into like a current day story where we could do an issue, or we could do an animated spot, or we could pull something out, or play a game that takes place current day or somewhere within the timeline of this universe, and have it make sense. So it took us over a month to figure that out, and we played it internally, and now what I'm doing is starting to expand that. So I'm bringing in another person. In fact, you guys might know him. So my friend Andrew, who's been on live streams before with us, like when we first started doing live streams, Andrew's got a comic shop. He's a comic shop owner, so he's a retailer, so he understands retail and sales. He's got super deep knowledge in pop culture and comics, and probably most importantly, he's a really good writer, and he's self-published graphic novels. Like, I have a shelf, you can't see it, but over here at the bottom, I've got maybe 15 different books that he self-published, like graphic novels, like comics that he published himself. So he understands storytelling, and I've known him for a long time, so we share the same, similar to Jason as an advisor, we share the same view on how universes can be built and how story flow works. So we're starting to create that lore game and play that lore game internally, and then we'll start to like bring it a little bit out into the community to bring you guys into it a little bit. So it's kind of the team starts to expand outward and spill over into the community. Does that make sense? Does that make sense at all? And J-Ross says alpha announcement. Yeah, I'm trying, man. I'm trying to give you be transparent. How do you be transparent without being completely transparent? So I guess the end result, really, the big takeaway is that you start really condensed and small, and then you do that up until you can't take it anymore, and and the wheels are about to fall off the machine, and then you expand out and take some of the pressure off. And that's slowly how you grow a bigger and bigger team, right? There are other ways, there are plenty of projects that like start with 10 or 15 people and then raise $100 million and hire 50 people. And that's great. But I've just always believed there's nothing wrong with that. But I certainly believe that, doing more with less now is imperative to future growth. Like if you can do a lot with a little right now, then when you have a lot, you're just gonna, Katie bar the door. Like no one's gonna be able to stop you, right? I think too many people, too many projects, too many startups rely too easily on just throwing cash at the problem, and then when the cash runs out, they're fucked, right? And this project is going to be, adult fantasy is going to be here for a very, very long time. And so it's important for us to work out the kinks as right now with the smallest team possible, so that, we really solve it. And so that way, no matter how big it gets, those problems won't arise anymore, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Hit me up in chat. Let me know. Especially you, J-Raw. Everybody. Let me know if this makes sense. And let me know if you have any questions. Is there anything that I haven't covered or that I'm forgetting about? I will tell you, so like one of the other things that we did while you guys are typing in, like one of the things that we did early on is I was doing my background. I have a deep background in digital marketing. And so my original plan was to do funnels and advertising, for like Facebook ads. Like I know Facebook ad manager really well, and I've had a lot of success with it. But of course, like, and we did Twitter ads. You guys probably I don't know if you know that we did Twitter ads, got banned like the first day. Like my entire account got shut down. I can no longer do ads on Twitter, like for no reason. Like I didn't break their terms of service or anything. They just totally banned us for no reason, and like would not give us an explanation. In fact, I took the exact same ad, used it on Facebook ads, and got results. And Facebook was like fine with it. Like, it was just stupid. But yeah, I learned really quick that with at this stage in the product and the adoption curve and the life cycle of where we are, trying to do paid ads is a little more difficult because the market doesn't necessarily want ads yet, at least not on Twitter. Maybe Facebook, which I'm going to be testing, and Instagram too. I'm going to be testing Instagram soon because I know Mark Zuckerberg is pushing Instagram as an NFT platform, probably to compete with Coinbase. So maybe he's going to be giving a little bit of love to NFT ads. So we'll check that out. Master Chief, Elon, don't worry, Elon will fix it, dude. That's the other thing I should have talked about tonight. Like Elon Musk owning 9%, is it, of Twitter? Like, he is now the biggest stakeholder in the company. That's badass, dude. That makes me excited. That makes me very excited. I have some ideas about why he did it. I think he has a desire to change Twitter to more of a free speech platform. I think that's my 2 cents on it. That's my super quick, dirty take. I think Twitter, to be completely fair, NFT Twitter is really good. When I jumped into NFTs, I deleted everybody except for people in the NFT space because I wanted my Twitter feed to focus on it, right? But I had never, prior to NFTs and like beginning of last year, I was done with Twitter for years because it was just a fucking cesspool. Like, I just hated it just made me feel bad, negative. Like, people just try to destroy you and destroy your reputation. And I was like, man, I don't even need this. It wasn't even directed at me. It's just like seeing it directed at other people. I was like, I don't want to be a part of that. NFT Twitter has been really, you're always going to have some people, but really NFT Twitter is pretty freaking awesome. Like, people are pretty cool. It's given me hope in the platform, to be honest. But so yeah, Elon coming in and buying it, I think he's going to change it to be more open and more inviting to people with different viewpoints across the board, which is good. I think you need, look, there are plenty of viewpoints that from people that I can't stand, and you know what? I either just ignore them or turn my computer off. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe that makes me old. I don't feel like people should be banned for, either this side of the aisle or that side of the aisle, or this perspective or that perspective. Unless it's something completely ridiculous. That's so against terms of service, I don't want to even give examples, you know what I'm saying? Then I understand. Then, every platform needs to have some rules. But people speaking their mind about stuff, there shouldn't be a problem with that, in my humble opinion. What do you guys think? Before we jump, is there anything else I didn't cover? Anything else we should talk about? Master Chief, Elon taking over Twitter, pretty smart. No, not awesome. Right on. All right, guys. Cool. Well, I hope you guys found some value in this. I hope this makes sense. It's always difficult to share exactly how to structure a team because every company, every project is different. But there are a few key things that every single project has to have, and it's just important. Especially for J-Raw, someone who's thinking about jumping in. It's so easy to say, okay, I need this role, this role, this role. There's 15 roles, right? And you realize, well, I can't do that. So you have to start stacking roles on top of people. And usually that's the founding team, right? So J-Raw, you're going to be working your face off. The web designer is probably going to do web design. The social media or the smart contract developer is probably just only going to do smart contracts. You're going to be the person having to figure out, all the other stuff. Hopefully you can find, designer for the magazine side. But in terms of everything else, you may be the one doing the community management, the outreach, the partnerships. That's what I did And it's a full-time job for sure. Like doing all of that where you're getting partnerships and Discord, and then Discord like collabs with other things like that. It's a lot of work. Yeah, it's something to think about for sure. Dusty says, I've never used Twitter in my life, but NFT Twitter is a special place. It really is, right? Like I'm really, it makes me happy, which is weird because like I said, I really do, with the exception of maybe like 3 or 4 people that I know personally, I deleted everybody that I was following. I was following investment firms and VCs and influencers from startups. And I mean, I was following hundreds of people and I deleted all of them. I didn't want anything. I was like, I'm focusing on NFTs, maybe a little bit of crypto, but I'm focusing on NFTs. And everybody in the NFT space is so focused on the NFT space that all you hear is stuff about the NFT space, right? And that's the way it should be. And that's what I prefer. It's been great. It's been absolutely great. Willie D says, go get it, J-Rod. Yeah, says, thank you, Todd. Yeah, absolutely. Guys, honestly, like, so this is, I'll give you some alpha. I'll give you a little bit more alpha, for the takeaway. So one of the things that we're working on behind the scenes is, how can I say this again without like spoiling? I believe wholeheartedly that we have all of the ingredients to be sustainable and to scale massively to the point where we can tip the scales in our favor against Marvel. Like, I do not have a question about that. It's just a matter of time. And part of that success plan includes stuff like this, educational aspects of how to build a brand or how to grow a business. Because what you're seeing in the NFT space is you're starting to see a little bit of consolidation, which is fascinating. So you guys know that I've said for months and months and months that my issue with PFP projects that claim to be building the world's biggest brand, whatever, when the PFP project gives you ownership of your one of one unique character. The problem with that is that most people don't know what the fuck to do with it, right? People get caught up in the FOMO or the desire of like, hell yeah, I own this thing. I own the copyright. I own the IP. They gave it to me. It's mine 100%. Cool. Go do something with it, right? Most people can't. And it's not their fault. It's just they don't have a background in launching products or launching brands or launching IP. Like, it's a skill. It's not something you just do. Like, you have to know how to do it. There are certain people that do. There's certain, like, there's been several people in Bored Ape community who've launched brands and stuff like that, but it's not like hundreds, right? It's not even thousands. Like, forget it. It's probably in the tens. It might be under 10. I don't even know. It's probably in the tens, knowing Bored Ape. But like, and so what you're seeing in the space now is a new movement of companies to come in who want to be entertainment companies or media companies, and they are licensing those top brands or those top IPs because they know how to build the IP, right? So you have these companies coming in and saying, we know how to create IP, we know how to do branding, we know how to launch, take this little animal JPEG and turn it into a toy or turn it into a series or turn it into a film or whatever. And so they're coming in kind of poaching people, getting different types of agreements together so that they can do that, right? And that's a cool model. I think it also has some issues that we can talk about another time, but it is a really fascinating solution. It's like, hey, all these people have brands. They don't know what the fuck to do with it. Why don't we just ask them if we can license it from them, and then we'll use their stuff and we'll make stuff out of it. Maybe you don't own CryptoPunk, but now you can license a CryptoPunk because Yuga owns it now, and Yuga let people have their IP. Now you can license that CryptoPunk, and if it turns into a toy, great, right? Or whatever. So I think you're starting to see that shift towards our end of our neck of the woods, our pool, where we're like, look, it's not about just creating a million different random things. It's about coming together to create something as a large group and growing group. And part of that is actually the bridge between being forced to license your thing out because you don't know what to do. The bridge is education and things like this, and being able to understand how to launch a business, or how to launch a brand, or how to structure a team for an NFT launch, things like that. So this type of work, I think, is imperative, and we'll be doing a lot more of it in certain areas down the road. So I'm super interested in what you guys think and what you guys want to know, what you want to learn. I don't know everything, but I certainly have some specialties that I'm willing that I've trained people on, that I've advised startups on, mentored tons of companies on. I would be honored to do it with you guys as well. Master Chief says, I'm actually looking to use Elder Zombie in my project. 100%, dude. Awesome. Hell yeah. Still looking for a Fiverr artist to help with a 3D model. Oh shit. Dude, you should also post it. I don't know if you have. I've done this so far, but post in the Discord and post it on Twitter, and we'll try to blast it out. You know what I mean? Like, there's plenty of 3D artists out there. If you can't find them on Fiverr, maybe you can find them on Twitter, because there's a lot of people on Twitter that know how to do 3D. That's awesome, dude. I love hearing that. Fantastic. Excellent. So yeah, let me know what you guys need help with. Same thing with you, Master Chief. Like, if there's anything that you need help with, or you're curious about, I'm an open door. So I'm here to help. Anyway, with that, guys, I love you. I hope this was valuable. A little bit of a departure from the news cycle nights, but I thought it was important, and I wanted to share it. Master Chief says I'll post it on Discord. Awesome. I'll do my part. I'll see it in the morning, and I'll see if I can spin it up into a post for you. Okay. I'll share that through Twitter. Yeah. Hope you guys found some value in it. I love you guys. Happy Monday. Dusty says, just saying Wizard is really excelling. That's a great point. Wizard's doing great with 3D models. Master Chief, you should absolutely ping Wizard in Discord, because he's actually doing just this. Maybe you guys can partner on it. Brilliant point, Dusty. 100%. Like, yep, right on the money for sure. Yeah, and with that, guys, love you. Take care. I'll see you in Discord, and I'll see you tomorrow night here again. We'll probably be covering some new stuff. Oh God, dude, I love this space so much. And I love you guys. I mean that, and I say it often because it's true. So thank you guys so much. And with that, I will see you guys tomorrow. Take it easy. Stay well. Get some rest. And yeah, let's wake up tomorrow and kick some ass. Okay, guys? All right.